Hello and welcome back to the channel Englishpedia by SR, and welcome to yet another new video on rhetoric or figures of speech. In today's video, we will be learning about 4 primary figures on imagination. Based on imagination, we have many figures, but I have chosen 4 primary or main figures that you will be encountering in your exams. They are personification, pathetic fallacy, apostrophe and hyperbole. So without much further delay, let's learn about them with examples. Let us begin our discussion with these 2 images. In the first image, the wind is whistling throughout the day. And in the second image, there are some leaves who are dancing. So wind and leaves, they are inanimate objects. They do not have life. And therefore, they are called inanimate objects, lifeless objects. But here, these lifeless objects are performing certain duties, certain activities, just like the human beings. Let us look at one poem by Kelly Roper, The Little Cornflakes. Here, the cornflakes are so excited that they are playing in the pool of milk. And they are having fun. So cornflakes again, they are inanimate objects, and yet they are doing certain things that are mostly done by human beings. So this idea constitutes a figure of speech in language. What is that? That is personification. What is personification therefore? Therefore, personification is a figure of speech where abstract ideas or inanimate objects are endowed with the attributes or qualities of living being. Nesfield describes that personification is where we ascribe intelligence and personality to inanimate things. In easier words, personified objects or ideas can think, feel, and act like human beings. Number 1. Tears on hollow cheek told what no tongue could speak. Tears is an inanimate object, and it is confessing, rather speaking something that the tongue could not speak. Speaking is an endowment of a living being, which is done by tears, which is an inanimate object. So tears has been personified here. Number 2. Death lays his icy hands on kings. Death as an idea has been personified here. We are kind of assuming death as a person who is placing his icy cold hands on kings. Number 3. The rose loves her beauty most when she is bathed in rains and dews. Rose is a flower, inanimate object, and it loves her own beauty like we men do. So here, rose has been personified. It is doing certain activities mostly done by women. Number 4, the thirsty earth soaks up the rain. Earth here has been personified, who is thirsty and who is rather soaking up the rain as if a person is drinking water. So these are the examples of personification where inanimate objects, ideas have been personified. We are assuming them as a person doing those tasks. Next up, we have a figure of speech called pathetic fallacy. What is pathetic fallacy? This is a figure where natural or inanimate objects echo human feelings or human expressions. This is a kind of subcategory of personification. This term pathetic fallacy was invented by John Ruskin in the year 1856 to signify the attribution of human feelings to natural objects. So if we kind of differentiate other activities of inanimate objects from feelings, then feelings would be the pathetic fallacy. So if you write pathetic fallacy, if you recognize pathetic fallacy as personification, that will be okay too. Let's look at a few examples of pathetic fallacy. Number 1, earth felt the wound. Here, earth is feeling the pain of the injury. Number 2, the river wept for the sorrow of the lady. Again, the river is feeling the sadness. Number 3, nature sighed for the woes of earth. Again, Mother Nature is sighing. So in all three examples, we find that earth, river and nature have been personified. But the personification is bordered on, feelings. They are feeling something. Okay, so if the personification is based on feelings or emotions, we call it pathetic fallacy, though it is a part of personification. Let us now look at the third figure of speech from today's video. But before that, let us study these three pictures. Picture number 1 says, her smile was a mile wide. Picture number 2 says, she cried so long that she made a lake. Picture number 3 says, I'm so hungry I could eat you. So in all these three pictures, there are overstatements. Smile cannot be of a mile length. Crying can never make a lake. And if you be so hungry, yet you will never eat a person of your own species. So all these are overstatements made for emphasis, to emphasize the amount of crying, to emphasize the amount of hunger, and the kind of happiness, the amount of happiness through your smile. So this emphasis constitutes a figure of speech in language and literature. That is called hyperbole. So what is hyperbole? It is a figure of speech where a deliberate overstatement is made for emphasis. Since here an exaggerated statement is made beyond its natural limit, this figure is also known as exaggeration. So exaggeration and hyperbole are the same things. Let us now look at a few more literary examples of hyperbole. I loved a love once, fairest among women. So here the speaker is designating his beloved as the most beautiful woman of all womankind. Number 2, this my hand will rather the multitudinous seas incarnadine, making the green one red. The speaker is telling that I have so much blood in my hand that if I wash them in seawater, the green seawater will turn into red. This is a very famous line from Macbeth, as you might know. Third one is from Hamlet. I loved Ophelia. 40,000 brothers could not worth all their quantity of love make up the sum. So my love is so great that it will be greater than the love of the 40,000 brothers of Ophelia. So if you add the love of 40,000 brothers, mine will be greater than theirs. So all these three statements contain overstatements or exaggeration for the emphasis. In example number 1, the speaker emphasized the beauty of his beloved. In statement number 2, the speaker actually emphasized the amount of blood along with guilt. And in number 3, the amount of love has been emphasized. So this is called hyperbole. The fourth and the last figure of speech from today's video is apostrophe. Though we know apostrophe as a punctuation mark, but here it is a different literary device or figure of speech. What is apostrophe? It is a figure of speech in which a short impassioned address is made to an inanimate object or abstract idea, or to a dead or absent person, or to nature, thinking the same as living being and capable of understanding. So what you basically do, you actually call a person, he or she might be dead or absent, you call a natural object or abstract idea or inanimate object, thinking that it would listen to you and respond back. So let's look at a few examples to understand this figure. Number 1, O wind, if winter comes, can spring be far behind? So here the address is made towards the west wind. Number 2, Milton, thou shouldest be living at this hour. So here Milton has been invoked, rather an address has been made to him, whereas we know that Milton was dead by then. Number 3, England, with all thy faults, I love thee still. So here the address has been made to a country, which is an inanimate object or an idea. Number 4, O death, where is thy sting? So here again, to an idea, the address has been made. In all these 4 examples, we are actually calling out either the objects or the idea or the dead person, thinking that they would listen to our calls and would respond back in time. So this is apostrophe. So here we end today's video. In the next slide, you will see certain exercises. There are 5 sentences and you have to identify the figure of speech from these 5 statements. It would be either personification or pathetic fallacy or apostrophe or hyperbole. So I would like to have your answers in the comment section. Till then, take care, happy learning, and respond if you want to see other type of videos on my channel. I would definitely make them for you. Thank you so much. I'll see you super soon in the next video. I hope the figures based on imagination are much more clear to you now. And if you like the video, please make sure that you like this video, share it with your friends and family, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more such academic content. Till then, take care and happy learning.